Folks, welcome into Free Money Football. It is week 3, and it's time to get back at those books and get that bankroll back up, baby. Free Money Football. Again, I'm your host, Ty B, and we got some guy named Steve joining me yet again. We'll have Meerkat back next week, back to our regular slot on Wednesdays, and I think we're going to bring you that second show on the weekends. So we should be bringing you a ton of great picks for you guys and great insight as well. Stevie, week 2 last week. It wasn't like week 1, wasn't just dogs barking all day long. I thought it was a much easier ride for most of us.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of teams kind of got back to their level. They regressed to the mean, and we saw that right away with the Bills and the Packers. Kind of two of the teams we both talked about that disappointing week ones. We expect them both to bounce back big in week 2, and they did. And we saw other teams kind of fall back a little bit, especially the Saints. They went into Carolina, and Jameis looked like old Jameis again. Didn't look like LASIK Jameis. But we got a long season to go, and that's why I love the NFL, because it changes week to week. Everyone thinks they're an expert after 1 week. They're like, oh, I figured out all these teams. That's not the case. This is the NFL. They're all professionals for a reason. The skill gap is not as wide as you think. Mm-hmm. It's going to change week to week.
Absolutely, Stevie. And one of those teams specifically you think about is the Steelers regarding that. Their defense played so well against the Bills in week 1. But what has happened since then? Injuries. And now TJ Watt looks like he's going to be out missing a decent chunk of time here. No Joe Hayden, Devin Bush. It's adding up there for them. And when I look at that, Stevie, that's going to get me started right here. You and I are going to break down our top 5 picks. Here's one of my picks right here. I'm looking at Ja'Marr Chase going over 61.5 yards tomorrow. Why? No Joe Hayden, no number 1, no lockdown. And even if it was, is Ja'Marr Chase the guy you're probably putting Joe Hayden on? No. I didn't love what they brought in with the Steelers defense this season at like a slot cornerback position. Didn't really have anyone fully in that spot against the Bills. They just went super exotic, so no one was forced into those spots. A lot of crazy zones that you're just not used to seeing. I don't think we're going to see that again just because of all these injuries. You just can't make up and make all those plays all the time. So I think Ja'Marr Chase, who has really gotten in a rhythm with Joe Burrow, is going to have a great opportunity to have a big standout game here, and a game where the Bengals could make a claim for a spot here towards the AFC North. They really have a great spot here. I'm not going to make any plays on this game because I do think they do pull off the upset, but I don't want to put my money on it because Pittsburgh has had their number for so long, Stevie. But that matchup there, I'd love it for Ja'Marr Chase.
Yeah, I like that prop. You know how high I am with Ja'Marr Chase's talent, and not to mention injuries on the Steelers side, but the Bengals side, T. Higgins has been nursing an injury. He was doubtful earlier this week. It's going to be a game-time decision. I like Ja'Marr Chase. I think he's the clear number 1 if Higgins is out, and the Steelers, the best mismatch they have against the Bengals is that defensive line, but it's banged up as well. So Burrow may have a lot more time than expected to throw. For my first, I wouldn't say my favorite plays of the week, my 5 favorite plays, I'm going with the Chargers plus 7.5 at the Chiefs. It's a little juicy right now at minus 125, but I love this line, Ty. And this is something the public has to know, is that the Chiefs are a very, very, very good football team. We all know that. But they don't blow out teams every week. That's not the case. In the last 10 regular season games, all 10 have been within a touchdown for the Kansas City Chiefs. All 10. That going back to last year, they were 8-2 in that stretch too. So they still had a good stretch. It's not like they were losing games. They just don't blow out teams anymore. And it's because their defense isn't that great. And you know who can move the ball on their defense is Justin Herbert. In the 2 games last year against the Chiefs, he had over 600 yards and 4 touchdowns. And he's looked good so far this year. Chiefs defense has shown a lot of holes against the Browns and the Ravens. They allowed the Ravens to do what they wanted and move the ball on them. They allowed the Browns to do what they wanted and move the ball on them. I think Herbert is going to have no problems moving the ball on the Chiefs. And not to mention, too, Herbert's played 17 career games as a starter. He's only lost by more than 1 touchdown just twice in his career. 7.5, you're giving me more than a touchdown for the Chargers. Try to make a statement against their division rival Chiefs. I love it.
Stevie, can't you see Herbert's throws cannot hypnotize Ty B? They couldn't get it done against that Dallas secondary.
I know.
He's not getting it done in this one, and this is because the Chargers are, I think they're Joe Public's team. They're the square team this year that everybody is on. Everybody loves him. And this is a spot here where I think if you're Andy Reid, you're Eric Bieniemy, you're the defensive coordinator. I can't remember his name at this point. You got to be like, I'm not letting Justin Herbert beat us. We need to like have a statement game here early in the season. Like it's not 2020 anymore. It's not 2019 anymore. This is 2021. Come out and show, prove you're the Chiefs, prove you're the top class of the NFL, and I think we see it in this performance. I wrote down Chiefs -7 with a question mark because I think it's the trap game of the week where everybody is gonna bet the Chargers because of that number. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Justin Herbert 7? Oh, give me the hook now. You're giving me 7.5." The cheese is there. Don't take it.
I'm gonna take it, Ty. Like I said, this has nothing to do with how I feel about the Chargers, more so how I feel about the Chiefs. Where I know the Chiefs are a very good team. I just don't think they blow out teams anymore, and I think they're comfortable with it too. They know that hey, last drive, if we have the ball, we're probably gonna score and win this game if it's close. It's just a matter of having the ball last, and I don't really expect the Chargers to win, but I think they'll keep it close.
I could see it, Stevie. I could see it. That's when you start really getting into betting and you start tracking trends and getting into it, you see these things, and all the time it's like the public is all over it. Like everyone's thinking it. When everyone's telling me the same thing, flip that switch sometimes, and that's where you end up winning the most money. And that's where I am on this game, just because everyone I know has been the same way as you, Stevie. And it's not even like a pick I love. I'm not like, yes, Chiefs. That's why I put it with a question mark, because I think it's the rat trap game of the week.
Okay, that's fair.
What else you like, Stevie?
So my next one here is just I've been riding this defense all year long and continue to do it. Jets Broncos under 41.5. It's pretty simple for me. The Broncos have the third best defense in yards allowed, fifth best in points allowed, and now they're facing a Jets team that just their offense has shown really nothing in the first 2 weeks. Zach Wilson has a 55 completion percentage and 5 picks already, and the thing the Jets struggle with is they struggle against good secondaries and good pass rush. And guess what? The Broncos are elite for both of them. And I know the Broncos had a cupcake schedule so far. They played the Jaguars and they played the Giants, but the Broncos offense didn't really shred either of those defenses, which aren't that great. They only scored 23 last week against the Jags. The Broncos are a team to me, especially with Teddy Bridgewater as the quarterback now. They just want to control the game. They want to control the pace. They want to just grind you out on defense, and then they're just going to, chip away a long drive. And then once they get up by 10 points, I think they're comfortable with it, and they're fine just kind of riding that till the end of the game. And the line was Jets plus 10.5. I don't like that half point because I could see that easily getting backdoored. So I'd rather take the under 41.5 because I think the way it loses is if the Jets have to score 2 scores or more on this Broncos defense, which I don't think they're capable of, or the Broncos just have to have an explosion on offense, and I don't see that either. I mean, Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, pretty pedestrian backs. Courtland Sutton had a great week, but that was against the Jaguars secondary. But even with his great week of over 150 yards, they still only put up 23 points. The Broncos really aren't a team that's going to take a lot of downfield shots. I think that they just come out here, control the game, and I think it goes under 41.5.
Yeah, I thought this was the craziest line I saw of the week because Teddy B has been an absolute cover machine. What is he like hovering around 66, 68%, somewhere in that range now against the spread? Absolutely insane. He makes Tom Brady's numbers look silly when it comes to covering against the spread. So 10.5. Keep me away from that game. But I'm going to get into my under, which is the Washington football team coming into Buffalo, taking that under 45.5. Last time those two teams met, it was a slow, grinded out game. Buffalo ended up winning by a field goal. I think it was like a 16-13 game, something like that. I think it's going to be another game where it's going to be slow, grinded out. We might see Josh Allen end up, putting up some big numbers at the end of the game, but a lot of bend don't break defense on both sides. And we're going to see something like a 20-13 win for the Bills.
Yeah, I could see that. The Bills' defense has really impressed me so far this year. And yeah, I know they faced the Steelers and Dolphins in the first 2 weeks. Not the greatest offenses in the world, but their defense has shown a lot, especially with the pass rush. I mean, even before, Tua left the game with an injury, the first 2 plays, he couldn't even breathe. They were all over him. I love what I've seen from the Bills front seven this year. I think they can get to Heineke pretty consistently. And he didn't really show that he was willing to scramble. He was just kind of looking for the check down all game. You saw McKissick have a big game, and the Bills are pretty good at defending that. I like the under there as well.
Yep, absolutely, Stevie. And it's a recipe. Two good defenses. Is the Washington defense as good as everyone advertises? Maybe not, but the pass rush is still going to carry over year to year.
Yeah.
Those guys are going to get at you. Chase Young is elite, and I'm just very excited to see Jaret Patterson back in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. I hope that he gets an opportunity to have a few snaps. Even though it's for the enemy team now, I would love to see Patterson get a couple, good plays in Buffalo.
He got some targets in week 1, so I don't see why you don't at least give him a snap, especially if it's late in the game and it's over. At least give him a snap.
Exactly. So my third game of the week, Ty, I'm actually going with an over here, and I think everyone loves the Cardinals this year. They love them -7.5 against the Jaguars. It feels like the bet. I haven't heard anyone say I like the Jaguars +7.5, but I like the over 51.5 because I do believe the Jags defense is as bad as advertised. It's really bad. They're allowing over 423 yards a game this year, and the Cardinals will have no problems moving the ball against the Jaguars. Kyler Murray looks like a video game character out there. You got DeAndre Hopkins who catches everything, and Rondale Moore, the small wideout from Purdue. He fell in the draft.
He was so consistent in college, and now he's so consistent for them. He just doesn't drop balls.
And that's the thing. A great route runner too. Great after the catch. It was just a matter of him, falling down because of his size. But Tybee's got the beer. I love this over because I think everyone is doubting the Jaguars' offense, and for good reason. Trevor Lawrence has not looked good this year. Urban Meyer has not been good. But the Jaguars have a fully healthy receiving core with DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, and Marvin Jones for this week. And the Cardinals' secondary has not looked that great. The Vikings were able to move the ball at will on them last week. I think we are going to see the Jaguars get some garbage time because they're not stopping the Cardinals. The Cardinals are going to move the ball, and they're going to get up big probably early on. But I think this is the game where we're like, okay, Trevor Lawrence, that's why he was the number 1 pick. He can move the ball. He can make some throws. I think the over 51.5 is a lock this week.
Oh, absolutely on that one. That's a great pick right there. And Stevie, I have an over as well. So let's get right into this over because I think this is just free money. What did the Dolphins defense look like against the Bills? Swiss fucking goddamn cheese. They were awful. Yeah. I think they're going to get picked apart by Vegas. And what does that mean? Miami is going to have to throw the ball all over the yard. Vegas' defense, not that great, Stevie. Absolutely love points in this one. 43.5. Over. I think both these teams get into the 20s. Even with a backup quarterback, I don't really care. That doesn't bother me. Give it to me all day long. Wow, Clemson tied late in the third, Stevie. This is insane. Wow. Can't wait to play this on Sunday morning. So everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? But yeah, no, the over in that one just sounds like it's freest of free.
The only thing I'll say to that is I'm pumping the brakes a little bit on the Raiders offense. I just don't expect Derek Carr to throw for 400 yards a week. And I think the Dolphins defense will be a little better than it's shown so far. But Jacoby Brissett, he's an okay backup. He'll move the ball. He'll run a little bit. And Raiders defenses are bad enough where you can just continue to take overs in Raiders games, and they usually work.
Dude, Gruden's supposed to be a defensive coach, and they fucking have not been good. Yeah. They've gotten worse every year defensively. Like they've been in the bottom half of the league since he's gotten there. They've gotten worse.
Bottom 10 since he's been there every year. It's crazy. But I'm going to take one more over as my fourth play for this week, and I'm going Ravens-Lions over. And it's another game that I think people expect to blow out, and it probably will blow out. But this total is 50.5. And if there's one thing, I know about the Lions is they have enough guys, and Jared Goff has been okay enough to get scores in garbage time. They'll move the ball. Yes. He'll dump it off to Swift.
Dude, we talked about it in the beginning of the season. They're going to have Swift. They're going to have Hawkinson. Like, they got guys. Like, they're not – it's not like you got fucking a guy who was bagging groceries 2 weeks ago throwing the ball. And in street running back and receivers, like guys who are outside of the training camp with signs saying hire me. Like these are legit NFL players. They have legit NFL weapons. They don't have anyone elite.
Yeah, and
Like-
they have no defense. And they had more injuries this past week with their secondary, which the Ravens will expose with Watkins and Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews too. And we know what the Ravens are, Ty. If you don't have a good front seven, you're not stopping the Ravens. The Lions don't. Lamar Jackson's going to run it well. I think the Ravens could score 38, 40 points on their own. That means all I need for this over to hit is 2 garbage time touchdowns for the Lions. That's easy because the Lions offense has actually looked competent so far this year. Jared Goff, when he's not getting blitzed by 6 guys, can make the throws. Yes, the Ravens blitz a lot, but that also helps the over because that means Goff's going to turn it to Goffle, and we're going to have a lot of turnovers, potential pick sixes, fumble sixes. I think the over 50.5 is the way to play this game.
Absolutely, Stevie, and I can't wait because after our picks are done, we got a special. It's Saturday while recording this.
It is Saturday.
You already know what happens on Saturday. It gets slicked. But for my last pick here, I'm taking the Giants -3. And Steve, you got to hear me out on this explanation. Listen to this.
This
Ready?
is also my pick. So we'll do a co-final pick. Giants -3.
Okay. Ready? This is my explanation. The Falcons fucking suck.
Yeah.
That's it.
The Falcons are bad. If you ask any NFL fan to name like 3 players on their defense, they can't do it. And Daniel Jones, everyone says, oh, he's the worst quarterback in the league. He's looked okay so far this year against 2 good defenses, the Broncos and the football team. And he's running more, which we wanted from him. That's his big play potential is he's running. The Giants have good weapons. Barkley's been shaky so far, but Shepard has looked great. Galladay's getting worked into the offense, and he got Slayton too. Evan Ingram should be back this week. I think the Giants beat up on the Falcons pretty good. A home game, and the Falcons' defense is awful. Their offense hasn't even looked that good. Hasn't even looked that great. Yeah, they scored a little bit against Tampa, but we just saw what the Falcons did late in that game and how Tampa covered. 2 pick sixes. Matt Ryan didn't know what to do under pressure. Giants can actually get to the quarterback. I'm in agreement with you, Ty. It's kind of stinky because you don't want to take the Giants laying points ever. But hey, Giants a field goal, I'll take it all day against the Falcons.
I talked about it when we were talking about the NFC South that I thought we could be betting Falcons for, most losses, the team to go winless the longest, all these, and they were sort of like middle of the road in like terms of odds. Like they weren't favorites at all. And I was so surprised. I was like, the Falcons are going to be brutally awful. And they have been, and the lines aren't really moving that way. So, look at now Giants just moved to 2.5. Even better, Steve.
Even better.
2.5. I don't have to lay the full field goal at home. Sign me up. There's no way the Falcons win a game away from home this year.
And Ty, earlier this year, I put in at 50-1 odds Falcons to have the worst record in the NFL. And I'll tell you what, after 2 weeks, I love that at 50-1 because you were getting like Jets, Texans.
Sounds like a great steak dinner for us.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know why people thought the Falcons would be so much better than they should. They're not a good team.
They play in one of the toughest divisions too.
Yeah, and they should get the first overall pick. They're done with Matt Ryan. They have publicly said
tank.
They're moving on. I think the Falcons are tanking this year, and I think they're going to lose pretty big to the Giants.
Absolutely, right there with you, Stevie. But it's time to get slick. He's over there. He's been researching his best bet. He's got one bet to give us here. Slick, we're putting you on the spot. You got to get over here. You got room. You got room to get in here. You got to put that set on.
Oh, yeah. Stevie, how we doing, my guy?
How we doing, Slick? What we got? What's your lock today?
For Sunday, I have a couple in mind. You know, Stevie, on the side, I'm a Niners fan. I don't really like that matchup with the Packers. I can't make that prediction, but honestly, the most free pick to me looking right now is the Seahawks -2 against the Vikings.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys went over that. The Vikings, Kirk Cousins is my backup fantasy quarterback. If either you know. Yeah, backup for a reason, right. But that doesn't mean he didn't put up more points than Aaron Rodgers did in week 1. But Aaron Rodgers led me to beat Ty B's dope-ass team that he calls. So, but, I see the Vikings.
Garbage catches at the end.
Yeah, the defense is subpar to me, and I think the Seahawks have got unlucky. I forget who they played last week. It came down to the wire.
Titans in overtime.
And there was a lot of really controversial calls down the line. And we all know how good Russell Wilson is. We can't argue against that. And all things aside, Derrick Henry aside too, Seahawks might have won that game. Refs aside as well. And they had the 12th man. They're in Minnesota. I don't believe in Minnesota, and I think 2 is a very generous spread. So I think that is free looking to me.
I think it's a trap line, Slick. I don't want to disagree with you, but it feels like a trap line to me. The Vikings, I think they're much better than 0-2 team. They were a 37-yard field goal away from beating Arizona, and the whole public perception would have changed on them if they won that game. Mm-hmm. Home game after a tough loss like that, their offense looked good. I might be leaning the other way with Minnesota, but I don't hate the pick. I mean, it's hard not to take Russell Wilson less than a field goal.
Yeah, exactly. At the very best, if Minnesota wins, then that's the way they covered the spread. I don't see them covering the spread otherwise if they lose. I don't see it. It's a 2. Like I said, 2. I think it's generous in favor of the Seahawks. They got the weapons. I'm just not confident in the Vikings. That's what I got. But we all know the real focus. I don't know what day this is airing, but it's freaking Slick Saturday, baby. You know why I'm here. You know why I'm here. I'm here so I don't get fined.
Absolutely. You got to love Slick, so make sure you guys pay attention at Degenerate Zone every week, every Saturday. He's bringing you his best picks for UFC. We're getting ready to watch that soon here. And the UB game, absolutely going to be a wild night for all of us here. So, Stevie, any last thoughts here before we wrap it up? We're going to be showing this Sunday morning. Any last thoughts, any last tips going into it as everyone's getting out there, getting ready to put in their bets in?
Go Rams.
Go Rams.
That's all I'm going to say. Go Rams. Big game against the Bucks. Stevie. Go Rams.
Absolutely. Cooper Kupp. Go Cooper Kupp. Everyone was making fun of me. Stevie, what was the thing you were saying in the article online? You're like, hey, if he gets a receiver, one. I got Cooper fucking Kupp. Although, like Slick said, I did take the L to him. I will admit it. Those Kelsey grabs in the last drive for no reason. He didn't need to be getting thrown the ball. You could have threw it to literally anyone else.
And Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns.
Just enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Just enough. Take one of those away, and I would have won. But it is what it is.
Time fantasy losses are killer. They're the worst. I'd rather lose in the afternoon slate than lose to one player.
We'll say we outscored most of the league, but it is what it is. But, Stevie, that's why we're making that money back here. We're building up the bankroll, so we don't got to worry about winning fantasy football. I don't give a shit about that daily fantasy BS. Lock in those bets. Get down to the creek. Call in your bookie. Text them in. Email them in. Do whatever you got to do. Go out there. Get that free money. It's free money football.